until 6 o'clock. And
then,
when
the Dallas Cowboys come up, the Miami Dolphins and Dallas Cowboys, the first home preseason game for the Cowboys.
And I think a long time ago, those two teams met in the Super Bowl.
A long time ago. That would have been Super Bowl. Now, wait a minute. Let's see. You're testing me here. Joe Willie was in Super Bowl III. Dun, 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 dun.
Are you a Cowboys fan?
Oh, I love the Cowboys. Yeah, I grew up on the Cowboys.
Okay, well, I'm a Dolphins fan. Okay. So it was our first Super Bowl, and you guys won.
Yes, I know that. I often have to answer at home. My wife is a diehard anybody
except the Cowboys.
Anybody except the Cowboys.
Super Bowl
Super Bowl VI, yes. And
but we won the next year. I think it was our undefeated season, just to say, and no one else has ever.
Zonka, Kick, Warfield,
Bob Greasy. That's right.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, Don Shula.
Yep.
Has there
Sunshine, palm trees.
Has there ever really been a team that has come up to that?
And I know my husband's listening, and he's a diehard Cowboys fan, and he must be moaning and groaning right now. But I have to agree with you. There has never been a team like the 72 Dolphins.
Well, you're going to have to agree with me. Boy, that was smooth. You got that in on. Yeah, your husband has probably noted what you just did.
Oh, he's flipping out because he's obsessed with the Cowboys.
So, and if my wife happens to be listening, she's freaking out because I'm talking about the first. Here I am back on the radio
talking about the Cowboys.
The Cowboys, wouldn't you know? You know, but anyway, see that. So tomorrow night we're going to rerun in the first part of the show the interview with Rose Tennant, and you said that it was a very, very powerful time.
Yeah,
with Rose.
She's in Pittsburgh. She is a national speaker,
radio talk show host herself.
But she also does CNN. She does a lot of television. A lot of our guests do that. CL does that.
Yeah.
And she's just very passionately supporting Trump. She wasn't originally, so they're talking about that. But tonight, it's not too late, even though it's raining, to go to BIPC, the Bossier Parish Community College.
I would probably, if I wasn't doing this, I may be there. We're going to talk to Bob Alexander from BIPC because at BIPC tonight, the GOP 4th Congressional District debate, and it's not too late, 7 o'clock tonight,
it's not too late. It's going to be worth it. He's going to be on the show in a little bit to tell us about the questions and different things. But if you everyone listening, a lot of the people are going to be voting in November for this district. There's 5 Republican candidates. They're all going to be there. So go there at 7 if you can. You
know, one of the things that you said to me, and I'm going to have, I'm going to have fun tonight, above all, and try to get back into the habit of. It's been a long time since I did the daily live radio thing, and because my show is obviously recorded now, I don't take calls. But in the first part of Strategies, one of the greatest things was show up every day at the studio, and you never knew what was coming on the phones, right?
Yeah.
So I hope we can do some of that tonight.
We're going to do that at 6:30. The phone number is 318-320-5335.
I remember
6:30. And if they keep coming, we'll keep talking to them because, see, you're a doctor and a therapist, and your show, Strategies for Living, is marriage and family. And I'm telling you,
body, mind, spirit relationship.
There you
we
go.
Cover it.
People need that. People need to know how to process the current events. There's people flooding in South Louisiana. And
it's funny that you say that because tonight we're going to talk about that with Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser.
Yeah, get an update. But isn't that kind of trauma? I mean, think of the people in Baton Rouge, David.
Oh.
They've had so many things happen in the past month, 6 weeks down there. And yet all the reports, and we all have friends down there, everybody is standing strong and optimistic about the future.
Right.
As a doctor, what do you think about that?
I think it's resilience. It's the resilience. I am so proud of the state that we are in. And I know that it's we track, Louisiana's last and everything, and et cetera, et cetera. But let me tell you something. You just mentioned why I'm proud to be a Louisianian. We are a resilient state. Katrina, in fact, Lieutenant Governor Nungesser was instrumental in the recovery.
He was the parish president of Plaquemine Parish during Katrina, and he was very instrumental in that. How perfectly matched are his skills and experience with what's happening right now, because the devastation in Baton Rouge, some are saying, is worse than Katrina, because some of the amount of homes. Sharon Broom is going to be on again. She's a former,
Louisiana State Senator, and she's she's candidate for mayor.
she's a candidate for
of
mayor,
Baton
but
Rouge.
she's been a state senator for 12 years in District 15, which is underwater. She lives in that district. Her house is underwater, 12 feet of water. I think it's 12 feet or 12 inches. 12 something. She'll tell us.
I think probably 12 inches. Oh, well, who knows? GOP speaker and author of Being Black and Republican in the Age of Obama is also on with us this evening.
Karen Watson.
Yeah, so she's going to join us to talk about that and Trump and her latest book. And you've packed us full tonight.
Because you like to talk about politics. It's your hobby.
Really?
It's a new hobby.
It's a
I'm
new
giving
hobby.
you that hobby.
Okay, well, I'm game. I'm game. I mean, old dogs can learn new tricks.
Is that psychologically a fact? I hope my husband's listening.
Bow wow. Husband's first name? John, George,
Mark,
Ringo.
George, Ringo.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
it. It's
Ringo. Yeah. Listen to
He's
your
a Beatle.
wife. Yeah. Do what your wife tells you to do. How's that? You can pay me later.
Exactly. It's worth that $100.
Marriage and family therapist David McMillan hosting for C.L. Bryant tonight on the C.L. Bryant Show here on News Radio 710 Keel. We're going to have fun tonight, folks.
And that's Ted Nugent.
And welcome back into the C.L. Bryant Show. Dr. David McMillan with you and in for C.L. today. And what an honor it is to have the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Louisiana, our state, the Honorable Billy Nungesser. Lieutenant Governor, welcome to the C.L. Bryant Show. Welcome back.
Glad to be with you. How you doing tonight?
Doing great, and thank you so much. I know you are busy in what's going on with you in Baton Rouge, and I know that you have agreed with Governor Edwards' request to lead the statewide effort to coordinate private donations and volunteers throughout our state. We all want to know what we can do.
Yeah.
We all want to know.
Well, you know, it's this is an unprecedented event. It's affected 20 parishes. Most of these parishes, the areas that have flooded, have never seen. It's a historical event. And to give you an idea of the impact it's going to have for many weeks and months to come on the residents, only 12% of Baton Rouge residents, the region, had flood insurance.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and unlike Katrina, where people would come in, and FEMA came in, and if you didn't have flood insurance, they pretty much made you whole.
Right.
Today, the law has changed. You didn't have flood insurance, and if you didn't live in a flood zone, you're only eligible for up to about $33,000, and the average check is around $7,500. Far short of what anybody would need to rebuild their home.
Wow. I don't want to spend too much time on this right now, but I do think it's important that we at least that I ask this question, Lieutenant Governor, and that is why don't we avail ourselves of my understanding is flood insurance is available. It's not very expensive. Why don't more of us avail ourselves of this?
Well, I think, you know, one elderly couple I spoke to had lived in their house for 45 years. They've never even been close to flooding. They're on a fixed income.
They didn't think they needed it.
It wasn't a top priority.
Right.
And when money gets tight, you got to cut something. If you lived in your house 10, 20, 30 years and never flooded, hey, why do I need it? Secondly, it has gone up. You know, it used to be $100 to $200. In many cases, that's close to $1,000. So, although it's still relatively cheap in contents of what it would be through the private sector, it's still a cost that has to be. And you know.
And I didn't realize. I certainly didn't realize that it had gone up as much. That's an incredible increase when you think about it.
And it's not all of them increased. Some areas are relatively cheap, but you know. When the people at least can afford it, the elderly and the poor,
yes, sir,
are the people that need it the most. And, you know, the $1 million homes that didn't have it, those people, for the most part, should be able to get a low-interest loan, and those will be available through FEMA as well, and have a means to repay it. And in many cases, the people that didn't have it, don't have those means. So it's going to be a great effort working with volunteerlouisiana.gov is our website for volunteers to sign up. But we're also reaching out to all these great organizations that did so much good after Katrina. Samaritan Pure in Baton Rouge is out mucking out houses now, and they're taking volunteers through our group. And you know, when this cleanup is over, we will have AmeriCorps down here with people, and we hope to use some private donations to buy supplies and make the poor and elderly whole that didn't have insurance.
So, Lieutenant Governor, you're saying that if our listeners right now, they have a few extra days on their hands from vacation or even this weekend, they can go to www.volunteerlouisiana.gov and they I guess they fill something out and then they get some kind of marching order?
Yeah, what we're doing is we are reaching out. We collect all the names, and then the nonprofits that are actually spearheading the work draw from that to go out and muck houses. Several of the people that have signed up are, contractors or can do plumbing work, and then when the rebuilding efforts start, they will draw from them as well. And so we're really organizing all that. We also are working with the governor's team to organize the donations, and we're also helping staff some of the shelters that are about. We got a little over 4,000 people still in shelters.
So this sounds like it's more organized than Katrina. I don't think we had this statewide volunteer portal like we do now. And then you're saying donate.crt.la.gov, and we're going to put these on our social media pages, but people can just donate there. They can just
Right.
Sign up right away at this donation page, and the money goes directly to the relief effort, right to the...
And then the Baton Rouge Foundation is also raising money for us. And, of course, the Red Cross, which is serving tens of thousands of meals. And on Saturday, I believe they will actually take over from the volunteers and fully man our shelters. And they will be they're signing up volunteers as well. So the one great thing about Louisiana, and you saw it from many of those videos where residents, neighbors risking their lives to rescue people, we help our neighbors.
Have you ever been prouder, Lieutenant Governor, to be a Louisiana resident?
This is what makes our space, as I travel, even in tourism, I tell people the greatest thing about Louisiana is our people.
Absolutely.
We make visitors feel like family, and we take care of neighbors like they are family.
Yes.
And I see it all across this great state. And I was asked on a national program this morning, why would you live there? I said, if you ever been to Louisiana and lived here, you wouldn't have to ask that question.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
As many times as we flood, we'll come back stronger than ever, and it's because of our people.
I love what you said. Our culture's deeper than these floodwaters. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. Thank you for your time this evening on the C.L. Bryant Show.
Thank you.
Well, Michelle, great beginning, huh?
I'm still kind of staggered about the percentage of people without flood insurance.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about that more. Maybe we'll take some phone calls about that.
round. Good night, Texas time.
And welcome back. Welcome back into the C.L. Bryant Show. Marriage and family therapist David McMillan with Michelle. Are you having fun yet?
I'm having fun. You're just so much fun. For
Really?
a doctor, a family therapist, he has been giving personality tests to Jay and I. He's been making us look at colors and telling us, what do you think?
I really can't say on the air.
Oh,
It's a
the evaluation.
It would be a HIPAA violation. So
Good.
yeah. But I will say this: trouble ahead. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my God, you're so funny.
We have a guest.
Yes, we do.
We have a guest, and it's a very important guest because Bossier Parish Executive Committee member Bob Alexander is with us, and he is also, Bob, you're the debate coach at Bossier Parish Community College, right?
I am, and thank you for having me this evening.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And I didn't, Michelle, I don't think you know this. I have a little affiliation with BIPSI too, in the media department. We do a little TV show during the fall semester and the spring semester. Bob, with all your cohorts there in the media department of BIPSI.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you as a part of the family.
You bet. Now you're a native of Shreveport Bossier, and how long have you been doing the debate team?
This is the start of my 9th year here at BIPSI.
Wow.
Came home 9 years ago to start the program and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Fantastic. And you've got you hold a Master of Arts from the University of West Florida?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. And you were quite a debater yourself, I understand.
I was very fortunate. It's one of those things that I walked into as a college freshman. I went to school as a business pre-law major, and just because that seemed like the thing to do.
Fantastic.
First
Okay.
person in my family to go to college, and happened to see a flyer for the debate team, and walked in there and joined the team. Changed my major at the end of the year, and said, "This is what I want to do."
And then I think your undergraduate was political science. So that's
Yes,
kind of interesting that you've married those
Science
two.
and speech communication.
There you go.
Now, Bob, it's not too late if people want to head towards campus tonight at 7 o'clock, right? Is the debate?
Tonight, 7 o'clock here in the theater, which is Building C on campus. We have some yellow signs outside guiding people in if they don't get washed away here with the rain, but it's always sunny and 75 degrees at BIPSI. So
Absolutely.
Now you're asking the questions, aren't you? And this is going to be, tell us who the candidates are going to be there, and tell us some of the questions, and how did you come up with them?
Well, twofold here. First, I'll tell you the candidates. We have Trey Balcom, Elbert Guillory, Oliver Jenkins, Rick John, and Mike Johnson all have committed to be here this evening. As far as the questions, we will be selecting the questions, and we've been soliciting questions so far. We've been asking for some questions by email through to faculty and other individuals, and we're also soliciting questions here tonight. As each audience member arrives, we're putting a card in their hand and saying, "Hey, look, this process works best with you involved in it. So if you got a
Fantastic.
question, write it down, and we'll be choosing from the field. So it's not just what I want to hear. We want what the people want to hear.
The audience has a chance to participate and ask the things that they want to ask of these candidates.
Absolutely.
Now,
All said and done here tonight as well. We're going to have a reception out in the lobby. We've got some generous sponsors that have purchased some refreshments and what have you for us, and we'll give them a chance to actually meet the candidates in the campaign. And so anything that they didn't get answered on stage, well, here's your chance to meet them face-to-face and get those questions answered as well. We really want everyone involved in the process.
This is a very important, I can't underestimate the importance, and I'm not a real political guy, Bob. I'm a marriage and family therapist. I'm in my room most of the time. But the 4th Congressional District, this is an important, who gets elected to this seat really is important, not only for Shreveport-Bossier, but for this entire region. So you're talking things like Barksdale Air Force Base. You're talking things like the health of Fort Polk, Louisiana. This is an important seat, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at it for what's important for our economy, it wasn't just a few months ago that I think the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, maybe it was, that had made a comment about how we're going to be overstaffed by 20% and need to start realigning bases and closing bases. And fortunately, Congress stood up and stopped them then. But who's our next representative? Are they going to do it? 'Cause that's important for us there, not just for our economy and our local folks, but on a broader scale for our nation's security. And there's not much else that's more important than that.
We've been blessed with some pretty good congressmen. Former Governor Buddy Roemer held this seat. The Honorable Jim McCrary. Of course, the current congressman
He's
has
been there
done
since 2008.
done a wonderful job.
Now, this is the first debate, though, of its kind. I think this is the first. Now, they've come to different events, but this is a debate where they're actually going to be asked questions, and then you get a real look at the candidates to see how they're different. Because all of these gentlemen are Republicans, so pretty much they are similar on different issues. But I think tonight, Bob, people will see them in a different light, a more thorough light.
Yeah, it's really the opportunity to try to find out what those differences are, because as citizens we got a tough choice to make, but it's an important choice, and it's one of the things that we structured into the debate tonight as well. Is there's a couple of periods where the candidates will get the opportunity to ask questions of each other.
Oh, great!
So to force those points of difference, these guys have been going to forums in different places around the state, and so they may have had other interactions where they kind of know what a stock issue is for another candidate, but let's find out what the details are.
Well, and you know what's important is that a lot of people are talking negatively. You hear it all the time, the buzz in the Republican Party. And I'll say a few people are saying this about the trickle-down effect, and that this seat is held by a Republican right now, and hopefully it will be maintained by a Republican. So our listeners need to go out and be informed, and we appreciate that you and the Caddo and the Bossier Parish Executive Committees have joined together to put this on for us.
Absolutely, and we really thank you for being there. Do you expect any sparks tonight? I know all of these guys are nice guys. Any sparks tonight, Bob?
It's just a wait and see. We'll have to see how they handle it, and that could be one of those issues that gives us some insight that we don't have so far. But,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's one of those opportunities.
All right, so 7 o'clock tonight. It's not too late if you want to head out to Bossier Parish Community College. Building C is where the action is tonight. Bob Alexander, thank you so much for being a part of the C.L. Bryant Show this evening. And folks, thank you for being a part of the C.L. Bryant Show. We've got much more. We'll be back.
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is The C.L. Bryant Show.
And welcome back in. Welcome back into the C.L. Bryant Show. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. How'd we do on our first 30 minutes there, Michelle?
That was 30 minutes? It seemed like 2 hours.
I don't know what to think about that.
I was making a joke. I was being mean to you.
Yeah, how can you be mean to me?
For a family counselor, I have no idea. I'm just mean.
We have business to attend to,
That's
so
right.
I'll get back to you later.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll deal with you later.
That's right.
We've got more important business with us right now is former state senator Sharon Broome, who lives in District 15, which she's represented for the past 12 years, and is now a candidate for mayor
of Baton Rouge,
the honorable mayor of Baton Rouge. So, Senator Sharon Broome, welcome into the C.L. Bryant Show.
Thank you. I'm glad to have an opportunity to share with you both this evening.
So, tell us about what's going on in Baton Rouge, in and around your district. A lot of rescue and recovery. We've been hearing about it. Are we almost there, Senator?
I hope that we are almost complete with our rescue effort. There has been a total of 7 flood-related deaths as of today, and I believe that 5 of those were here in East Baton Rouge Parish, I'm told. So that is certainly unfortunate, but we are working very hard, families are, to restructure and regain our lives, including myself.
Now, Senator, you live in the district, so your house was affected too, unfortunately.
Yes, I live in the Park Forest subdivision, and Park Forest is one of the largest subdivisions in the city of Baton Rouge, and it was one of the hardest hit as well in the city of Baton Rouge as well. Of course, there were other subdivisions adjacent to our subdivision that was hit very hard. But here in Park Forest, if you go through the subdivision, it looks kind of like a war zone, you know.
Oh, geez.
People are unloading their homes with damaged furniture, etc., carpet, you name it. Just everything that was wet now is destroyed and now has to be put out of the homes and back into the mode of cleanup.
Yes, Senator.
Preparation for restoration.
Senator, we can all feel compassion for, but so many of us have not been through the unfortunate flooding that Baton Rouge has had, and I'm so sorry for your personal trauma and losses. What words at this point can you describe? What does that feel like in terms of dealing with bringing your stuff out, salvaging what you can? What does that feel like on a personal level, Senator?
Well, of course, when you have memorabilia, family photos, you're trying to save that to contain and sustain those memories. But there's also a detachment that takes place in this process. But, I also believe that it's an opportunity for a new beginning in many ways. In the midst of adversity and in the midst of tragedy, we usually or often we see good things happen that come forth as a result of that. And so I believe that the families here in my subdivision and throughout Louisiana hopefully will be made whole and be in a better condition after we work through our issues.
It's important, especially in this time, and it's interesting. I don't want to belay this. I don't want to get on my soapbox, but especially the tragedy in Baton Rouge previous to this, with this tragedy on top. How do we begin Senator? How do we begin? I love what you're saying. We have to work together to make Baton Rouge, to make our state better than it was before. What's the beginning place? What's the starting place to begin to do that?
For me, and I don't minimize the impact of what is taking place, but for me, the starting place is prayer. Because what has happened is so much bigger than any of us can wrap our minds around or can even deal with, from a natural perspective. So,
Yes.
so submitting our concerns and our cares to God, I believe, is the first step. And then understanding the interconnectedness of humanity. We all are connected. As I look across this community, this flood has impacted all demographics
Yes.
in our city and in our parish. And one thing that I have found out is that it's during times of crisis, we seem to put aside our political ideologies. We put aside all our differences, and we unite. And I want to see that common denominator of unity go forth as we move forward beyond the circumstances that we're facing right now.
Amen. We're not Republicans and Democrats in times like this. We need these reminders. We're not the black race or the white race. We are the human race, aren't we?
Yes, certainly we realize that Martin Luther King talked about it a lot, and that is the interconnectedness that we share. And once again, it's that common denominator that I talked about. We all, when we suffer, we all are suffering in a situation like this.
Yes.
But the good thing is we all can unite. We all can love God, love our neighbor with no exceptions. And I've seen that demonstrated throughout this ordeal. I've seen neighbors reaching out to neighbors that maybe weren't connected before. I heard one of my neighbors said that she has met so many people that she didn't even know in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Because people are really responding to one another in a spirit of brotherly love. And I really hope that we maintain that attitude once we move beyond this.
And I hope so too, because as we just spoke with Lieutenant Governor Nungesser,
1 minute,
and he told us 12% are the only 12% of the people flooded had flood insurance. So this is going to be a long recovery. Can you stay on with us for another block?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can you do that, Senator?
Yeah, I can.
Because we've got a lot more to cover. I love what you said about prayer. And sometimes we as humans, I know I do it. I'm not a minister, I'm not a rabbi, I'm not a priest. I don't know how to pray. It could be as simple as, God, help. That's a prayer. That's a prayer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
God, thank you for my life.
Exactly.
We'll be back.
Loves Jesus in America too. She's a good girl. She's crazy about Elvis. Loves horses and her boyfriend too. And it's a long day living in Reseda.
And welcome back in. Welcome back into the C.L. Bryant Show. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. C.L. is in Chicago tonight. He'll be back next week, but we are manning the helm with Michelle. Are we doing okay?
Well, we haven't gotten into any ditches yet, but we're trying to steer this boat through all the rain and the water.
And by the way, we want to thank Milam Cars. We want to thank Signature Cleaning Service. We want to thank Bailey's Fine Jewelers for bringing all the support and helping the C.L. Bryant Show to be a part of our community. And we're talking with former State Senator Sharon Broome, who lives in District 15. She represented that district for 12 years. She is now a candidate for mayor of Baton Rouge. She herself had her house flooded.
Yeah.
And so, Senator, thank you for staying over with us. Very, very important that we want to help. You know, we're here, and right now we're not as affected, but we want to help, Senator. And Lieutenant Governor Nungesser mentioned a couple of ways that we can do that. VolunteerLouisiana.gov. If you want to donate food, donate at crt.la.gov. Any other ideas, Senator, from your perspective that we can do to help?
Yes. Well, you know, we have nearly 10,000 residents in shelters. And so when I visited shelters early on Sunday, folks were really in need of some basic toiletry items. And imagine if you had been displaced from your home, what would be some of those immediate needs that you would want to have access to. So I think if we just use ourselves as an example of what we would want.
That's a great idea. So things like toothbrushes and toothpaste, deodorant, basic needs that we take for granted.
If you were stranded, towels, you know. So those are some of the things. And I would also encourage people to connect with faith-based entities here, especially all over the state, and I'm saying here in Baton Rouge as well, because they are the boots on the ground. They have tentacles all over the community, and in fact, many of their members have been impacted by the floods. And so I think that's another avenue as well.
Absolutely. What can leadership, what can state leadership do? I understand that you're running for the mayor of Baton Rouge. I'm not a political guy, but from what I hear,
right, and a lot of people, Sharon, you can imagine they're saying, why would you want to be mayor of this city now? Wouldn't you want to just like pack it up and move on? And what do you say to that?
Well, I look at public service as a calling. And what we are going through now, you know, you don't walk away from the calling.
Right.
You step up to the challenge. And so what we're going through now, I believe, is giving me certainly additional insight. And as I move forward, as in that role, looking forward to being elected in that role, I would certainly make sure that we put things together or look at what is going on right now to make sure we do preventative work for the future. And I think it's also very important that we make sure that our families in the city are strong. You know, this is not going to be an overnight fix. It's going to take a while for us to get back in our homes and for there to be some normalcy.
Yes.
And people need to be encouraged during this time as well, you know, to keep pressing on in the midst of such adversarial circumstances.
I would imagine Mayor Broome is not going to forget this and is going to keep this in front and centered in Baton Rouge over the next 4 years, 8 years, 12 years.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You know, only 1 in 8 of our residents here in East Baton Rouge Parish have flood insurance, and that's because a majority of the areas that were flooded were not in a flood zone.
What will you do to encourage that, Senator? What will Mayor Broom do to encourage that number moves upward?
Well, I certainly think that we have to now elevate the concern around flooding and elevate the concern for flood insurance. There was a time when you're told it's not a flood zone, you don't expect to be flooded.
Right.
And so we have to reevaluate that. As we also have to look at buildings, development. How is development impacting our system, our drainage, et cetera, and make sure that we grow, but we have smart growth.
Right. When you're developing new property, making sure that drainage is being taken care of so that when you have as much rain as happened, what they say is this was like a hurricane without the wind. So it just dumped a lot of water. But it hasn't happened. Some people say 100-year flood. Some people say 500 years. Either way, it hasn't happened in any of our lifetimes that Baton Rouge has been this flooded. And, the whole conversation about flood insurance is going to continue. And, this week it's about the recovery and finding people and rescue. Next week it's going to start about the flood insurance and how did this happen? Because people don't have insurance and their home is gone and all of their belongings. And how do you recover that? But I'm so glad that you're willing to step in and still want to be mayor to help navigate. And then you personally having to do it because your own house. Now, you didn't have flood insurance, did you?
No, I did not, because we lived in what we were told is a no flood zone, so we weren't required to have nor encouraged to have flood insurance. So I'm like thousands of other residents in this community and in our city, where we will have to look for other avenues such as FEMA for assistance or small loans to restore our homes in this process.
Well, I'm sure most of our listeners don't have flood insurance as well. Even
and what happened in Baton Rouge could just as easily happen anywhere in our listening area.
Well, I said Louisiana is a flood zone.
Yeah,
you live in Louisiana, it could be flooding because there's marshland everywhere, rivers. So
we've had our share of flooding here in the Shreveport area, but this could happen anywhere.
It did, and people didn't have flood insurance. And so, if you're listening, it's something we're going to talk about. We're going to get some insurance experts in here next week, and this is going to be an ongoing conversation, Sharon, because insurance, we pay into it for a reason, and it's to protect us in times like this. So,
absolutely, and I think it merits an ongoing conversation for sure.
Well, if you are, I'll be very positive, when you are elected Mayor Broom, what will you do to reach out to Mayor Tyler and the other mayors of the major cities around, but especially our cities here, Shreveport and Bossier?
Well, let me just say I know Mayor Tyler personally, having worked with her when I was in the legislature, when she was superintendent of education, and she is a very knowledgeable, insightful, and effective leader. And I look forward to gaining some wise counsel from her as a mayor. And I've talked to mayors across the state who I also admire and look forward to having and building relationships with them, but also getting that insight that they have. Some of them have already been through some of the challenges that we are now facing.
Well, thank you for those kind words, because I live in Shreveport, and Ollie Tyler is my mayor, and you hit the nail on the head. She has been done remarkable things the past year and a half.
And I didn't mean to leave out Mayor Low
Walker. He's from Bossier.
From Bossier
You know
City,
how it is, Bossier, Shreveport. We got this little rivalry going on.
That's right, but I didn't mean to leave you out, Mayor Walker. If you're listening, don't come after me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be very positive and hope that the next time that I get to sit in this chair, if CL lets it be a next time, that I'll be you'll be back guesting Senator, and you will be Mayor Sharon Broom.
Well, the election is November the 8th, and we may be dealing with the issue of recovery up until the end of this year.
Absolutely.
But nevertheless, I'm certainly praying that everyone will exercise their right to vote and look at the qualifications of the people who are speaking.
Absolutely.
Whether it's here in Baton Rouge or elsewhere.
Or wherever in the state. Good luck to you, and we will be back with more of the C.L. Bryant Show. And welcome back. Welcome back to the C.L. Bryant Show. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. No, you're not listening to Strategies for Living. That's Sunday. It's not Sunday.
Well, we give strategies for living.
But yeah.
Ish.
Ish. It is kind of Strategies for Living
kinda
ish.
Ish.
Now we're going to open up the phone lines. 320-5335. 320-5335 is our number. Michelle, are we doing okay? You're hanging in there with us? Okay.
And
because I've noticed your brow just
he's
it's furrowed brow.
You mean when I was hitting you with stuff and beating you
yeah,
earlier? Yeah, no, that's just typical.
That's
but
just okay. Well, CL did not warn me.
He didn't. Well,
no.
If he did, you might not have come. But I'm
going to demand combat pay.
Yeah. Compensation extra. 6:32 is the time, so it's still not too late for people to make it out to Bipsy. They're having the first debate for the
GOP 4th Congressional District debate. Very important. Building C.
And there's signs, and after the debate, there are refreshments so that you can actually meet
and you're going to get to meet. You're going to
get
to meet Trey and Mike and all the guys.
And David, you were telling me, and I'm going to call you Dr. McMillan when you're on the air with us.
I wish you would call me David, but
call me Doctor though.
Okay, I'll call you Doctor. Dr. Michelle with us.
Right.
Yeah.
You've told me that you're not really involved in politics, and I think
I'm interested.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those things. I think a lot of our listeners are interested, and maybe this is the type of event where all of these men are there together,
Yes.
and you can ask questions because there's things that we need to know. And if this 2016 election cycle has taught us anything, it has taught us we need to be engaged.
Yes, we do.
I think that Americans are waking up to the fact that they've kind of been on autopilot and let Washington handle Washington, but the message is it's about the people.
It is
We need
about
to
the
get
people. It's
engaged.
about the people right here, and we have one of those people
we
on
do.
the phone. We've got Frank on the line with us. Frank, welcome to the C.L. Bryant Show.
Thank you. First time caller. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad this is the first time. Welcome. What's on your mind this evening?
Well, one of the comments I had to make was that I have a mortgage. I've been in my mortgage for about 10 years, and I didn't have flood insurance. And then I wake up one day, and my house payment has changed. And I'm going, oh, well, what's going on? And I realized that they had slammed flood insurance on my mortgage.
So they added flood insurance.
They added flood insurance on there. Well, what my concern is, for example, I'm hearing that only 12% down in Baton Rouge has flood insurance. I live in East Texas in Marshall.
Right.
And so what I'm concerned of is like, are they cherry picking where they choose FEMA? I spoke with my mortgage company, and FEMA says that they're putting flood insurance on my house, and that's fine.
So you're saying this was not your mortgage company's dictate, it was a FEMA dictate.
Through a FEMA mandate, my immediate neighbor, she also had insurance dictated to her, flood insurance dictated to her mortgage as well.
Right.
And so she went through the process. It cost her around $1,000, and she went through the process of having a survey done and saying that she didn't have to. But I live immediately next door to her, but on my property I own 8 acres, and I have what's called a creek. It's a spring, but it's also I own part of the creek.
Right.
And because I own the creek, I have to maintain flood insurance, but my house is actually higher than my neighbor's house.
Wow.
The creek is about 50 feet below my house. But anyhow, what I'm getting to is that my conspiracy theory is that FEMA only wants to cherry pick where they want to put flood insurance because they want to help the insurance companies. Is what I feel, because they don't want to go somewhere where they know that it's going to flood, and I just felt really uncomfortable about that they forced insurance on my house.
Well,
and
Frank,
not other people down in Baton Rouge.
Well, and I think the forcing, I'll just speak on CL's behalf a little bit here. Forcing is something that we as Republicans and small government people, whether you're Republican or Democrat, we just really don't want the government forcing stuff on us. FEMA is paid for by tax dollars. The money doesn't grow on a tree somewhere. And so we want to be very conscientious with that money. A solution to people flooding, FEMA shouldn't be the first go-to. Now, flood insurance on your home
1 minute
is something that we are going to talk with next week and the weeks after about the different details, because, this forcing issue, and then the fact that people were in areas that weren't flood suspected of having floods. But we appreciate the call. Keep listening.
Frank, I'm glad you are a first-time caller. I hope you won't be a last-time caller. I hope you'll call back to the C.L. Bryant Show. Thank you for your call tonight. And folks, 320-5335 is the number. We welcome your phone calls. 320-5335. The C.L. Bryant Show. Marriage and family therapist Dave McMillan. Michelle, we are here at the helm while CL is in Chicago. We will be back.
Dazed and confused for so long, it's not true. Wanted a woman, never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. Soul of a woman was created below.
320-5335. 320-5335. Welcome back into the C.L. Bryant Show. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. Phones are lighting up, Michelle.
Yes, because you're going to help them with strategies for living.
I hope
I see
so.
you like our music during the break.
I do like you.
wish
Yeah,
people could see you
Oh, you
dancing.
saw me. You saw that. No,
yeah.
no, I do not dance.
Is that I could see?
You didn't. No,
I
you saw
noticed.
nothing. You saw
no,
nothing.
I saw that you.
No,
didn't
you didn't.
dance.
No, you saw nothing.
I did see that.
320-5335. Let's go to the phones. Michael, welcome to the C.L. Bryant Show.
Thank you, sir. How are you doing today?
Doing great. If you can just convince Michelle that she did not see me dancing.
I wasn't there. Thank you.
What's on your mind, Michael?
I was calling. The last caller had said that he, all of a sudden, he noticed that his house payment went up because they smacked flood insurance on his mortgage.
Yeah, Frank said they added flood insurance to his mortgage. Yes.
And we'll see. I just recently moved to the Shreveport area. I've only been here about 2.5 years now, and when we bought our house, we're not in a floodplain or in a flood area, but our mortgage company said, you want the loan, you're going to get flood insurance.
So they're lending you the money, and they are saying that they're not zoned for floods, which means that some kind of experts come in and say that. But what you're hearing in Baton Rouge, if mortgage lenders had done what your mortgage lender did in Baton Rouge, there'd be a lot of happy people right now down there, because your lender said it's too much of a risk. I can't lend you this money if I'm not protected. And even though experts say you don't have to have it, we're not going to give you the money, because what if it happens? And like you said, 2.5 years. Well, we've been having floods up here much more than ever in the past 2.5 years.
We really have. Did you object to it, Michael?
No, I really didn't, because my wife and I, and this was kind of what baffles me, is my wife and I were talking about it. She made the comment, hey, when for our insurance, we've got to have flood insurance. The bank says we got to have flood insurance. And my honest thought to this day, and what I told her was, we're in Louisiana. Do you think that's kind of common sense?
Good idea.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
The flood zone, all the state.
Yeah, whether we're actually a flood zone or not, it could happen here. Michael, thank you for your phone call. Thank you for listening to the C.L. Bryant Show. And we go to the phones to Gene. Gene, thank you for being on the C.L. Bryant Show. Welcome.
Hey, David.
How are you?
I don't know if you remember me, but I was your neighbor 40 years ago in Old Broadmoor.
Gene, it is interesting. You came to my mind yesterday. Yesterday. Yes. Yes, I won't say your last name. I know your last name, but I won't say it because you may not want that. But yes, Gene, you came to my mind yesterday. This is weird.
I set this up. I did this on
Did
purpose.
you? Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah, I know Gene. I had him call.
You had Gene call. Is that true, Gene? Does she know you?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I do know. See, so I can prove to you that I know exactly who you are, Spice. And you'll know what that means, right?
Absolutely.
What's on your mind, Gene?
Well, I was calling about the kind of response this other guy's called about flood insurance.
Yes.
And I know there was a guy before me, so he might explain all this, but you can only buy it if you live in a floodplain or flood zone. I don't know what the term is. And if you're not in one of those, you can't buy it. When I was living in Broadmoor Terrace, I tried to buy it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't buy it if I wanted to.
Now,
Really?
do you live in Shreveport now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have flood insurance?
I do.
Okay. So
I'm in a floodplain now, and I had to buy it in order to get financing on the house.
Well, and that's what he was. This is Michael was our just last caller, and what he said was the lender. And I've been a banker, so it's responsible for the lender. They're giving you the money for this house.
You're going to protect, from the banker's
your
point of view,
investment,
the lender's point of view, they're going to protect their investment in your home.
Exactly. But we are going to have experts on the show. There's so many different facets to this. The homes in Baton Rouge, the price gap. I mean, yes, there are some people in lower income and less expensive homes, but rows and rows off of Sherman Drive. I mean, it's crazy the amount of loss that they've experienced, and they wish that they would have had it. So we're going to find out if it's true, like you're saying, that if you don't live in a flood area, and if a lawyer is listening or someone who does insurance, give us a call and we'll put you on. But that you
we want to
can't
know
get
more.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, 320-5335 is the number. Gene, I remember back in the day when Strategies was in this slot years and years ago. You used to be a caller back then, so thank you for listening to News Radio 710 Keel for all these years, my friend.
All right. Thank you. Good talking with you, David.
Good to talk to you, Gene. Let's have some coffee together one day. Catch up.
We'll do that.
All right.
Bye.
320-5335 is the number, the CL Bryant Show, and we want to thank Red Wing Shoes. We want to thank Brown Dodge. We want to thank all the wonderful people at Milam Cars, and they help bring this program. Also, there's a wanted to mention.
This is what I want to mention. Is Grub Burger. Have you been to Grub Burger?
Oh man, have I been to Grub? You're looking at me, and you asked the question if I've been to Grub Burger.
The next time you go, and this is for all our listeners, and it doesn't matter if you go there every day. You tell them CL Bryant sent me, and they will give you a chocolate shake for free because you said that because they love our show.
Now, can I?
And we love them.
All right, can I go? Can I go in and say I listen to the CL Bryant Show, drink my shake, and then go out and come back in and say I listen to the?
Will allow you to do that. That is based on your own conscience.
Okay, well, I'll think about that.
Yeah, Dr. McMillan, Strategies for Living. I think you can figure that out yourself.
So, it's not too late because you've got 13 minutes or so to get to Bipsy. Again, 4th Congressional District Republican debate this evening, Building C, and it's an important...
you live in Bossier?
No, I do. I used to live in, but I'm from Bossier City.
Oh, you're from Bossier.
I am from old Bossier City. Yeah, grew up eating Cobb's barbecue. If anybody remembers Joe Cobb, and I'm sure many listeners do. Grew up right down the street from Cobb's. Well, if you don't know Cobb's barbecue, Michelle, you and I are going to eat a chopped beef sandwich one day.
Where?
And then you will know
At
Cobb's barbecue.
Is it still in
Oh yeah,
Where is it? Where
50
is it?
the corner of McCormick and Barksdale Boulevard in Old Bossier. It's right now it's kind of under construction at the moment. But you know, Cobb's barbecue is still open for business.
And you're 80 years old. I'm surprised it's still there.
Okay, 320-5335. She's killing me, folks. She's killing me. 320-5335. Welcome back. Welcome back to the C.L. Bryant Show. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan with a tip of the hat to Holmes, Honda, European, and Tiger Axle, and Subway.
And I've
Michelle.
got another special sponsor, DavTac. They sell guns. I think they custom make guns. And if you mention the C.L. Bryant Show, you get 10% off, which actually pays for your tax. But you were here the other day talking about creative versus reactive.
Yeah, I said you have to see it right. I understand we have John on the phone.
And I think he is going to talk about something that has to do with creative versus reactive.
Oh, really? John, welcome to the C.L. Bryant Show.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind?
I'm going to paint this first with a question.
Okay.
It kind of falls with you being a family therapist. If a couple came to you and maybe they're split up, it doesn't make it. This is just general, and they were in a horrible relationship, the most abusive you can think of.
Right.
Would you? And they are troubled by this, and they keep reminding themselves of it by whatever they need to do to remind it. Watch movies, pictures, whatever that reminds them of that horrible relationship.
Right.
Would you feel that's healthy for them to move on with their life, or unhealthy?
Well, that's a very broad question. I mean, it depends on the couple's ability. Obviously, what you're describing, John, is a very reactive, two very reactive people, because they are re-experiencing, they're seeing themselves as victims, they are repeating.
If they're separated. I got to bring this around to my final question, but in general, is it healthy for them if they are separated and move on with their relationship, or unhealthy?
Yeah. Well, in general, if they're not able to do something either with a good therapist, their minister, in some way that they make that shift from reactive to creative, then it's healthier for them to move on from that relationship, John, because again, there's no the good Lord doesn't want any of us abused, I don't believe.
Right. So here's my question.
Okay.
With the way society is right now, the way Black Lives Matter, the stuff coming out of Hollywood, all these movies,
right,
they keep bringing up the past, like opening up a wound.
Right.
Is what my opinion. Is this healthy or unhealthy? There's fixing to be another movie released. I heard it brings up the past. I don't think you should forget it. It's like the Holocaust. But, when do you can't forget that. That is part of history. But they keep dwelling on it, and I think they're making racial divide greater.
I think you're making a good point.
Greater.
I think you're making a good point, John.
Put those two together, what's the healthy thing to do? Like Hollywood won't let this go. Politicians won't let it go.
Right. Well, you're bringing up some excellent points, and so thank you for your call. 320-5335, and we have another caller on the line, Michelle.
Well, we actually do. We have one of our sponsors, Ken Britches from Britches Insurance, and he's an insurance person expert, and he's going to help us out here. Ken, are you there?
I'm here. Yes, ma'am.
Ken, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys. And I was driving through and heard the show this afternoon and thought, well, let me do a quick search and I can kind of explain, why they've done that. And if you go to floodsmart.gov, it explains it. Just type in mandatory flood insurance on my mortgage. And basically the law's been around since 1973, and then they revised it in 94. And if you're in an area that's high risk for flood, it is legal for the mortgage company to mandate that you have flood insurance.
Right.
And it's just like, any other kind of insurance mandate. If you're going to drive a vehicle, you've got to have, at least some type of liability coverage. So if you're out there running around and you cause a wreck, the people that you could potentially injure are going to be taken care of. And
right.
Same applies on your home. If you purchase a new home, your mortgage company is going to require you to carry homeowners insurance in case the home burns down or has hail damage or whatever.
Yes.
So it's I got tickled. One of the callers said that the government's in bed with the insurance companies, and yes,
Yeah,
true. You
yeah.
know,
Well, I think you're making some great points, because let's not throw common sense out the window. This is not your freedom being taken away from you. This is not our freedom being taken away from us. This is common sense, and and that's what you're saying, Ken. It's just good common sense, right?
yes, sir. And also, if an area gets revised, say you move to an area that's a low flood risk, and then say, for example, along the Red River, you may live in like you mentioned, the Broadmoor neighborhood,
right?
Or one of the callers did, and he couldn't purchase flood insurance, because it's in a higher elevation. Well, if say the channel of the Red River changes, as rivers do change, and then suddenly Broadmoor is now in a floodplain, the mortgage companies can add the flood insurance to your policy or to your mortgage if you still, if you don't have a clear title, or I'm sorry, if your house is still financed. So,
exactly. You know what we're going to do, Ken, and I mentioned this to you off the air. We're going to have Ken come in next week, David, so that
That's
he
a
can be
great
in the
idea.
studio and answer questions, because I'm telling you, Ken, the phone has rung off the hook because people want this common sense advice, and you are that expert that can do that for us. So we appreciate you calling in, and we've got somebody that wants to make a comment about you, so I'm going to let you go and bring in our next caller. But I'm just going to tell you, Ken, you're the hero of the night tonight.
Thank you so much, Ken.
I appreciate that.
You bet. And we have another caller on the line, 320-5335. And let's go to the phone here. And
I like what that last caller said. 1 minute. I think everybody's missing the big picture here. The economy is so bad after 8 years of Obama that maybe 88% of Baton Rouge people can't afford the insurance.
right.
Right. So when something like this happens, here comes the nanny state and the big federal government, Big Brother. And this is just another example of everybody relying on big government, the federal government, to take care of them. And this is the way liberals take over this country, Marxist socialists.
Caller, thank you. We're up against another block of commercials. Thank you for your call. 320-5335, the C.L. Bryant Show. We'll be back.
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
And welcome back into the C.L. Bryant Show. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan, having fun with Michelle. We have not mentioned, we've been remiss, Michelle, because we have not mentioned yet that the Facebook page is TheCLBryantShow.com.
That's right.
Facebook
and you can go there. We put the latest and greatest articles. I mean, we've got some things on there that are the most important thing about the flooding. We also post on there. We're going to post on these links for volunteering.
And you know, you heard you again. This is a family. I mean, and what a great we had great calls from on the flood, and then one of our advertisers calls in, is able to provide information, needed information to us. So if you want to become part of this family,
that's right.
How do you do this? Well, you simply email Rick at TheCLBryantShow.com.
There you go.
It's as simple as that. And you can also download the free app, right?
But you download the free app, and I'm telling this to you, David, you need to download the app. All of the shows that we do immediately upload on there within a few minutes at 7:35.
So I get to hear tonight's show. See, because I'm not listening to tonight's show.
That's right, and you get to hear it again, and it's so informative.
We've got the founder and president of GOPBuzz.com, which is an internet portal for Republican-centric events. She is Karen Watson. She has authored 3 books.
That's right.
And Jackass, the true history of the Democratic Party and their abuse of black America. Also, how the Democrats stole the black vote and how the Republicans can win it back. And being black and Republican in the age of Obama. Karen Watson, welcome to the C.L. Bryant Show. Welcome back to the C.L. Bryant Show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be able to be on your show again, so I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So tell us about the new book.
I'm very excited, very proud of the book. I used to always say that the problem with us Republicans is that we were always preaching to the choir, but we really needed to start baptizing the congregation. Too many Republicans don't even know our story. And I was like, not only do we not know our story, we don't know the story of the left. They do not have a history that would make people feel really good about voting for any Democrat. So the latest book, Jackass, The True Story of the Democrat Party, goes into that, just their history of racism, their history of division.
And you go as far as to use the A word. You go as far as Karen, to use their abuse. You use this right in the subtitle of the book. Their abuse of black America. So in your mind, in your thinking, this raises to the level of abuse. That's a strong word.
Yeah, and it's not strong enough, but it is what I chose to do so that young kids could read the book. But the real story is beyond abuse. It goes on even to this day. I mean, my book covers all the way up through Clinton. So there's some real explaining to do that the Democrats need to do in reference to the way they have treated black America. But we haven't known the history, so we have not yet called them out on it.
What do we need to know, Karen? You know, many people say that President Clinton was actually the first, quote unquote, the first black president. What do you say to that? I mean, I've heard that over and over as a white guy running around here in North Louisiana. What do you say to that?
They say that because the Clintons are really good with optics, but they're not good with substance. When the 92 election was going on, Bill Clinton went on the Arsenio Hall show. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
These shades and this sax, and, you know, he just seemed so hip and cool. So, you know, people were like, well, wow, he's the first black president, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
Well, that's a very derogatory statement, and many people were offended by that. And
right.
Just because he knows the lyrics to Lift Every Voice and Sing does not
make him black.
He has. Oh, yeah, exactly. What he shouldn't do is continue at the time the narrative of prosperity for black people. And matter of fact, more black people in America were incarcerated under Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton than they were in the Bush or the Reagan eras.
And how has that fared in the last few, the rate of incarceration, how has that been under President Obama?
Well, it hasn't been to the same extent, but it still has been more than the Bush years and the Reagan years. But the other thing is we forget that the genocide of Rwanda, where 1 million people were slaughtered in 90 days, also happened under the Clinton watch. There are a lot of issues, but we somehow are, amnesic when it comes to dealing with the real story of the whole Democrat Party. So my book blows the whole thing open.
Well, before we go to the next block, that's what we were talking about today. People don't understand who the Republican Party is. Today is since 1920, so I'm not sure how many years it's been, but the suffrage movement. Today, because, August 18th, 1920, Tennessee was the last state to ratify women getting the right to vote.
Women's suffrage,
and it was Republicans that were strong in that. Also, Karen, the Republicans are the ones that wanted, the blacks to vote, and it was the Democrats in the 60s that were doing other things that were anti-civil rights. So remind us about that, because we're the party of liberty, not the Democrats.
Oh, absolutely. But, people forget that the first woman to run for president was Virginia Woodhull, and her VP was Frederick Douglass. So we have not been good stewards of our own
history. As Republicans, we have not been good stewards, because this story about the first woman running for president came out because Hillary tried to say she was. And so they had to change the narrative. But this woman that you were talking about, is it Virginia Woodhull?
Mm-hmm.
She ran for president because she was strong in the suffrage movement, and she really was a history maker, unlike Hillary Clinton, because she was doing it when you had no chance to win, because hardly any women even were registered to vote.
Right.
She was truly a pioneer.
Running as a woman, she was running under a movement, but it wasn't. This identity politics of gender and race is a very new thing, but it's the only cards that the Democrats can use, because they cannot run on, as a party of prosperity or lower taxes and things that make it better for everybody. That's the only cards they have. And the reason.
Well, you know how we know that, though? Because her slogan isn't, look what I did when I was in the Senate. Look what I did, this, that, and the other thing when I was Secretary of State. Let's look at the Middle East. No. Just look at that I'm a woman. Her slogan is, I'm with her. That's it.
Right.
I'm with her.
Right. That's all she can say. And the thing is that we so often forget that Hillary Clinton has been an abuser of women. And so for her to run on that slogan, I promise you, it's not the first lie that has come out of the mouth of Hillary Clinton, but and I promise you probably will not be the last. But
Karen Watson, thank you so much. Thank you you're going to stay around with us through the break, aren't you?
Yes.
All right. We will be right back. The C.L. Bryant Show. Marriage and family therapist David McMillan and Michelle with you tonight. CL in Chicago. Be back next week. And welcome back. Welcome back to the C.L. Bryant Show. It is fun to be here with you, Michelle.
Everybody says that. Jay says it to me all the time.
Well, you know, they lie. I'm telling you the truth.
Somebody's in the studio. We won't
Somebody.
say who it
we
is.
won't say who he is.
And he said,
but he's
CL,
close.
not so much.
So there you go. Yeah. There you go. We got to get back to the
Karen.
to the business at hand.
Yes.
Yeah, Karen Watson, who is the author of her new book is Jackass: The True History of the Democratic Party and Their Abuse
Are
of
we allowed
Black
to
America.
say that on the air? I mean, you're the radio guy. Is that a word that we're...
4 minutes, yes.
Yes, you're allowed to say, what, jackass?
Yeah, I guess you are, because you keep saying it.
I keep saying it. Yeah, no, jackass is okay. And you know, there are a lot of words that used to be not okay are okay today.
When you started in radio.
Oh, 100 years ago. 1974 is when I started in radio.
Karen and I weren't born yet.
Oh, stop.
Oh, no.
No,
Karen,
we weren't.
Karen, stop her. Come on back here. Okay, now in the book, I got to ask you. I want to ask you what your as you researched the history of the Democrat Party. I want to ask you what your biggest surprise was. But since we were talking about the Clintons, I want to come back before I do that and ask you about Donald Trump, the Republican nominee, obviously. How is he different? We were talking about abuse, and you were pointing out that not just blacks, but it's also women. So how is Donald Trump different, especially with women's issues?
Well, I think with the labyrinth of lies that the Clintons are so familiar with, and that's the only narratives they have, that you have Donald Trump, who's really just a breath of fresh air. And he has not just the narrative, but he has the history to prove it. I mean, Donald Trump has consistently and historically employed women at the same amount or greater than many of their male counterparts. He's employed people of color, blacks, Hispanics. I mean, I hate the divisions that we've kind of gotten used to saying, but he has helped so many people achieve the American dream, and the fact that he is able to say without what he wants to say beyond the spin cycle of the traditional politicians is truly a breath of fresh air.
Well, and Karen, you're a lifelong Republican. I mean, you actually met Ronald Reagan, and you've actually influenced me a great deal. I've only been a Republican for like 26 years, really. I wasn't even interested in politics before that, and you've been a tremendous influence on me. So I love your support of Donald Trump, and I have to say, Karen, and you and I both see this around the country, so many people are supporting Trump. So many Republicans are out there supporting Trump because they feel like he's that fresh voice in the room. He's not bought. He's unbought, unbowed, and unbiased. I mean, how do you feel?
He doesn't do it by the book.
No, he doesn't. And I think that's the thing that we need in America, because basically both sides of the aisle, and I'm a big-time Republican, both sides had it all locked up and locked down.
And, you know, we've said many times today, I'm not a political guy, but I see the response. I see the not doing the things by the book and the response, Karen, that he seems to be getting.
Well, the book is corroded, so we need to throw the book out. And thank God for Donald Trump for doing that. And I think that right now people are waking up. They're realizing that we cannot afford another 8 years of the Clinton machine. We can't allow them even back in the White House. We used to, you know, there we go, forgetting the real history. I mean, the Clintons stole from the White House when they were there. I mean, they literally had to bring hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of art back to the White House when they left in 2000.
Right.
But not just that. You know, when you look at someone like Donald Trump and you look at what reason would he do this? Donald Trump does not need this job. He does not need to create some slush fund like a Clinton.
He doesn't need the money.
Oh, yeah. He's doing it because he loves this country. And we've been 8 years with a person in the White House who does not love his country. I almost became physically ill when I saw the President of the United States, Barack Obama, playing golf while while Louisiana is underwater. You know, I mean, you would think that he could once give up a golf game and go and help people who helped put him in office. But that is just, if you like what's happening now, you're going to love Clinton. And Clinton has been, you know, running for office since he was working for the Watergate investigation back in the 70s.
Back in the day. Karen, thank you so much for coming and being a part of the C.L. Bryant Show. Folks, you got to get this new book, Jackass, The True History of the Democratic Party and the Abuse of Black America. Karen, we didn't get to the question that I asked you, but you'll have to come back and answer it later.
I'd love to, and we've got a great nominee. We've got to support it, and we must win on November 8th. So
Karen,
thank you so much for having me.
Karen Watson, thank you. C.L. Bryant Show.
We'll be back.
We've got more to come. We'll be back. And welcome back to the C.L. Bryant Show. Marriage and family therapist David McMillan. What do you think, Michelle?
I think you're still dancing in the breaks.
You're not
You need
seeing that.
dancing.
You are not seeing.
You need lessons. If
you
you're
are
going to
seeing
dance,
nothing.
get lessons.
What are you saying? I'm dancing like a white guy? Is that what
I
you're
didn't
saying?
say that.
No. Okay. I said that. Did I blow it at the end of the show?
And we were having such a good time.
Yeah. Did I get fired at the end of the show?
No, we're going to have you back, as a matter of fact.
Really?
CL's going to be traveling a lot because of the election, and we want him to do that.
All right,
because
he will be back. He will be back next week. But tomorrow, there's going to be a repeat of the show, the interview that you guys did with Rose
and
Tennant.
then there's going to be the Dallas Cowboy game. They're going to be playing the Dolphins, and hopefully the Dolphins. See, you're a Cowboys fan, and
I'm a Cowboys fan from way back.
I am too,
yeah.
unless they're playing the Dolphins.
Yeah. Well,
I'm always a
I'm
Cowboys
old enough where when I came up, we didn't have the Saints yet, so the Cowboys were our team.
I know a man like that very well. That's
Oh,
what he
yeah?
says. Yeah.
Well,
It's all about the Cowboys.
We got to stick together with the Blue Star.
Well, CL's a Cowboys fan.
Now, I like the Saints. Don't
Jay's
get me
a
wrong.
Cowboys fan. This whole system that we have here, it's all about the Cowboys. My pastor's a Cowboys fan. But
You're
we love the
outnumbered.
Saints too. We love the Saints
We
because
do
we
love
love
the Saints.
Louisiana.
Yes.
And I mean, nobody is as good to our community as the Saints and Drew Brees. I can't wait to see what they do with this recovery process.
Absolutely. And when the Saints play the Cowboys, I got to root for the Saints. I'm sorry. I got to root for the Saints.
How nice of you.
Yeah, well,
Alrighty.
just the way it is. I want to stay married. That's what I got to say.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you for a good
entertaining
yeah,
evening.
yeah. And folks, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the CL Bryant Show. And I hope you will be back. CL will be back next week. But a very special thank you, as always, especially now, to our first responders. We are seeing that firsthand here in Louisiana. It makes you proud. Makes you proud to be from Louisiana. And of course, thank you to our troops who put their life on the line for you and I.
10 seconds.
Every single one of us. For Michelle, for CL Bryan, marriage and family therapist David McMillan.